Urban Play, the Google translated version of the story of the night. Hello. Capsules welcomes the city, an audio historical podcast. I defeated your army to speak Sissa's language, not Latin, the first thing they didn't hear, so in the first episode there was a night, now for free. However, you need to share the information with the first person to leave the city. You see, Blackbird town is not a common place. You cannot get there by car, bus or plane. It exists in different places at the same time. Universe parallel collision of other programs. Where most people only reach through their dreams. Anyway, not you, but this week is just another week. This type of rider is something important for the city he will be traveling with. We'll see how your story begins. Maybe he'll tell you everything when he meets later. A kingdom is one that contains many laws. Some people think that the king has too much power. Not the Blackbird people, they didn't care about the king. Almost everyone agreed that the city was outside the kingdom. The veteran tried to enforce new laws to keep up with the city. But they are not interested. Navali prepared a plan. They did not lie to the king, no, that is, they agreed not to publish information about the visit there. The king's aides with his right hand are a couple of such species. He knew there was something unusual about his remarks. That meant king's mastery of traveling to Blackbird town. He asked if a new group of artists should take land in their careers. They write down everything they see. Everything. The big things down to the smallest, most youthful game of those who questioned them. He was finally getting angry. The king would not be happy to hear about the situation. A group of knights gathered in front of the stable early in the morning. Each of them was given a roll of newly implemented rules, which he probably put in a bag. The king's assistant continued to talk about the importance of their work. That they would send letters to inform him of the situation in Blackbird town. All the knights promised to follow the instructions of the assistants, and one by one they set out on a partial journey from the stables. A knight was left. He looked at his assistant and asked, "Why don't you go away?" He said, "I have no horse, sir. Just go into the stables and get one." The assistant traveled before further questions could be asked. The knight was quite young, almost 20 years old. This was the first important work he had ever done. Despite his fear that it might all be ruined, he also didn't know what he had been doing most of the time. The soldier imitated the other soldiers. Read about them, listen to stories and gossip about them. And now he was one of them and they were new to him. The soldier thought he would go in groups, but that idea doesn't seem to be true. He looked around in the stables for a short bit and decided to take the first horse that took his attention. He started his ride out of the castle gates that lovely morning, not knowing that soon the news that the prince's horse was stolen would spread the kingdom. The knight followed a river for the whole day, taking many breaks and stops for map reading. Blackbird town was a place he had never visited before. When night fell and the stars twinkled in the sky, he found a place to sleep. The legend thanked them, but they knew they probably did not want to be there and allowed him to stay so that they would not have any problems with the king. Starting in the morning, the horse rode on the horse. That day, the horses began to travel through the jungle. Before finding the train, he walked in the opposite direction for an hour. He asked them to walk to the side of the road, so when they kept up with the pace of the car, he stopped and started walking next to them until the conversation began. The boss asked them about their health, its people and where to go. A man older than his cyclist. She answered her question immediately. While they were there, there was a murmur of the cart. The president reached into his pocket and read the newspaper. A woman's voice asked why they put 2 people in the pot. Why did they stop? Oh, yes, nighty, and yet. The soldiers also made a proposal. And suddenly he got up, which he didn't punish for laughing at her and keeping you from going. Well, it usually works, they said. The knight released them and continued his journey. He tried to return the bottle, but was asked to keep it. After another day of cycling, he saw a light in the background. He hurried to them and saw a group of people suddenly changing direction. The rider jumped off the horse and walked beside him. A boy sitting on the roof of a house threw a small object at him. When the knight looked at the boy, he ran to the window and went inside. The knight sought accommodation. The hotel is said to be full. So he found an inn on the outskirts of the city.